Hey YouTube, welcome to my review for the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Power Morpher, the first Morpher in the Lightning Collection after we got our first helmet and roleplay weapon, so this is kind of exciting. As usual, I wanted to go over the box first, especially since they have cool collector's packaging. As you can see, you have like the box art, just like all the Lightning Collection, with art that I think is similar or identical to the figure one, which is cool. The other 4 coins are here, and then you have like an art of the Morpher here. Honestly, if it didn't come with this cool stand, and maybe if this was see-through, I would maybe display it like this, because I have so many Power Morphers. I just really dig the box. I think it looks really cool. You have the art here on the side, or on the top side, or whatever, you know how it is. And then on the back it shows you like, hey, here's a stand, and here's some of the noises it makes. So for those of you that are into the box, I think it's pretty cool. It makes kind of a cool display piece if you are into that. Now we have the actual main event itself, and as you can see, just as on the box, it has this really cool stand, which in my opinion is one of the coolest things about this release in particular. As a bonus of what makes the Hasbro one unique, it makes for just a really cool way to display it, which I really like. It's just kind of a generic, cheap plastic stand, but it works. You know, right under here you'll see there's like little kind of mountain designs or whatever, and then there's a little groove right here for these to like, not lock in, but they just rest in place. So, you know, this is going to be kind of unstable, but if you get it in there right, it'll stay decently. You got a little lightning symbol there. It rests here. There's this little piece that's separate for whatever reason when you get it, and you just have to lock it in. Here's a Pokemon Stadium, so you can have some battles there if you want to. And then obviously you have this piece here, which is the holster, which is basically the same as the one from the Legacy release. You know, it's just a holster with little clips for your belt, and it latches in perfectly, and then it's meant to go in the stand like that. So I think that's really cool. It's not like the most expensive stand ever, but I think it looks cool and is a really neat way of displaying it. But let's talk about everything aesthetically first, and then I will be doing a comparison to the past Power Morpher releases as well as past coin releases. So overall, I think look-wise this thing is solid, and it's one of the most accurate ones because in the show, it is much more of like a silver look like this. It's not the metallic-y silver that the Legacy one had. It's much more of this kind of brushed silver look to it. It says Power Rangers instead of Zyuranger, although I guess for the Sentai footage, the Zyuranger one is more accurate. But this is basically like a sized-up collector's version of the original Power Morpher release, and I think it looks good. It actually feels, it doesn't feel die-cast heavy like the Legacy one, but it does have a bit more of a nice collector feel to it. Not quite 100%, but a little bit better than the Dragon Dagger, which while it had some cool aspects, I felt cheap. And this one at least feels like, oh hey, this is kind of a more high-end collectible. I think it's because of the metal coin, but it's a decent size. It looks good. It's kind of hard to mess up. I mean, you have stickers there. I guess maybe you could have wanted for it to be painted, but overall, I don't really have too many complaints on it. You have the Z back there for Zyuranger. You know, this comes out, all that good stuff. So, like I said, it would have been pretty hard to really mess this one up. So I'm pretty happy with it in that regard. So let's open this up. So you can see it has individual LEDs for the different coins, and you could see by the way they look, they have these little grooves here, which is more accurate to the old toy. I don't think about the show. I mean, sometimes in the show, they did use the toys, which is something I'll talk about in a minute. But I think it's more accurate to not have these in there, but they decided to use that system. But on its own, you get some kind of generic noises and LEDs. So you press that and you get some different colors. And it'll make those kind of noises. And if you hold this button down when this is closed, you get alphacopter noises for some reason. And then there's not really anything like that when you have it open. It just does nothing. But so then you get the noises individually if you have the coins. And because I'm a huge nerd, I'm going to do it in morph order. So you just latch it in like this. And then we'll close it, and then you'll get that LED, it'll kind of stand by for a little bit, and it'll eventually go away. But it'll just be distinct for each Ranger color, which is cool, but then we'll close it up. And then we can pull that out for super accuracy. It's Torfin Mime! So I don't know what that Stoneboy noise, don't know what it's about. But I don't know what that's about, but as you can hear, it makes that sort of chamber opening noise it does in the show when they morph that. That was a perfect chamber opening noise. Man, I should do sound effects. And then he actually says Mastodon like in the show. Let's take it out. And it does appear that they are the actual clips from the show. Some of them sound more distorted than the others, which is kind of weird. Mainly Trini's, I think, sounds a little weird. Okay. That one feels like it cuts it off really quick. And lastly here, so that one sounds a little bit distorted, so I think they're varying degrees, but if they're not clips from the show, they're actually very close, which is more than I can say than the clips they used for the Dino team-up. But that's pretty cool. I like the idea of them actually using the different calls from the show, since that's so iconic. I think that's really neat. If they do any in the future of like the Ninja releases and stuff, I would love to see like the, you know, the Black Ranger power, Red Ranger power, Yellow Ranger power. I think that would be really cool. That would be a neat addition. But so let's go ahead now and compare the coins to the previous releases, and then we'll do the Morphers. Sake, I'm mainly using Tyrannosaurus for the comparison, cameo by my tripod right there. So right here, this is the Hasbro Lightning version. This is the original Bandai Legacy release that came with the Morpher. This is the Legacy release that came as the individual coin set with altered colors. And this is the original 1993 version. I don't know why I have so many accents happening in this one. So as you can see, it's quite a wide range of differences. And depending on which scene you're seeing, it's more accurate. I think for this, they almost went with trying to be more accurate to the original 90s toy itself. Like, as you can see, it's not the same size. This one's a little bit smaller, but the color's almost spot on. They went for the same design with these little, like, pegs here that you latch it in like that, whereas with Bandai, they went for more of a coin look. And the original one wasn't the most accurate. It's kind of more of this weathered, almost ancient feeling one. I think this is the most accurate color-wise. Again, it'll depend on the scene you're watching, whether it's Sentai footage, MMPR, or what have you. And I think that, like, they used the toy sometimes in the show, so this will be more accurate. And this, though, I think is the most accurate from what I've seen, where it's like right in the middle of kind of more weathered and too bright and shiny. Bright and shiny. If you get that reference, then kudos. Also, a difference here is each of the coins has a Power Ranger helmet on the back, rather than the Legacy releases, which just had like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers there. So here you have Red Ranger right there, Red Ranger, Red Ranger, and then you have Blue Ranger, Pink Ranger, Yellow Ranger, and Black Ranger. And if you couldn't tell, these are actually metal. I was a little bit worried that these were going to be plastic after the Dragon Dagger was kind of cheap feeling. I was like, oh man, the coins are probably going to be plastic. But they are metal. They do feel nice. They do look nice. I like the shiny look of them, but they just look a little bit too new, whereas I think these are a little bit more accurate. But now let's compare the Morphers themselves. Okay, so here are all the ones I have at my disposal. Hasbro Lightning, Original Legacy, Original 90s release, and then this is the Movie Morpher Legacy release. I only have the White Ranger one, which is why it's like Tyranno, Falcon, but I figured it was worth putting in here just for the heck of it. But let's compare them all directly. So they're basically almost the same size. This one is a little bit thicker, but this one is heavier because this is much more of a die-cast look. This kind of reminds me of what somebody said about the Dragon Dagger's comparison of Legacy versus Lightning, whereas this is kind of a cooler collectible, and this is more of a cool toy. Although I think it's a little bit different than the Dragon Dagger, where this is a much more accurate look for the Morpher, and neither of these have the exact right accurate coin, but this one obviously is going to feel a lot heavier. It looks quite a bit different. It looks kind of more like a die-cast collectible thing, whereas this looks more like a toy / slightly more accurate. The power in the Rangers is a little bit bigger on there. I'm not sure which one's more accurate of that, to be honest. I didn't give that a whole lot of thought. Here's the backs here a little bit. This one does have a little bit more paint going on. Honestly, this isn't really paint. This is a sticker, but that's like probably there. I think that was there, but it's unnecessary. Like, because that isn't there, I'm not like, oh my god, this is trash, because like, who's going to display it like this? I don't know, probably somebody. But there's a lot of similarities there. This does have an on-off switch, which is different than this. You get those on-off noises when you have it, and then this doesn't have like the individual things, but it does have the theme. Whoops, I didn't mean to cut it off that short. So you have that difference there, that it plays the theme like that when you hold it down, and it doesn't have the individual things. It's funny because this one borrows much more from the way the LEDs looked in the original, but this kind of borrows more from the look of the original. And like I said, the coins are different, whereas this is an actual coin. You don't lock it in like that. You press the Z on the back to pop it out, which I kind of liked. I think this is more accurate. I like that they're more, not the color, but I like that they're more like coins, which I think is neat. And then, of course, there's the original 90s release. Obviously, it's a great deal bigger. It's more accurate here because this one says Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but they're kind of trying to line up the way the coins look. Unfortunately, the sounds don't work on this one, so I can't compare them for that. But this is obviously like a step up overall. This is kind of something you get more for nostalgia. although it's not that bad looking. And obviously, yours might not have the sticker wear. And then this is completely different because it's the Falcon, but I figured it was worth comparing because it was a unique release. And this had, compared to this, a much more shiny vibe. Again, bright and shiny. So it's very different, and you do have some of the similar noises, although this has Falcon noises when you open it up, but it also does play the theme and stuff like that. So it was like close to the Legacy original release, but not really. But those are the sort of the differences between them. Overall, I think this is a pretty cool release. Not perfect by any means. I kind of wish it had a little bit more sounds to it, but I do really like the fact that they included the sound bites of the Rangers screaming the names from the show. Maybe when they get to Samurai and Megaforce, they can just have them say their roll calls. Jaden! Kevin. That would be hilarious. But I really do dig that. I think it's one of the most accurate looking ones in terms of the Morpher, even if the coins aren't. But the coins still look good. They feel good because they're die cast, which is really nice. I think this stand is really cool. So overall, I think if you missed the Legacy release and you're not a stickler for the exact accurate power coins, then you could pick this up and I think you'll be happy. I think it's really cool. Just of note, because I don't want to forget it, because I know people are going to ask, you can technically put Legacy coin in here. It's not going to latch in, but if you're really like a stickler Meeseeks, you could probably do this, and like it's not going to stay like that, but you could probably finagle it, although you probably want to do this and not be the dumbest boy in school. There we go. But you could probably get it, like maybe tape it or something if you really wanted to do that, and then you could put these down here if you really wanted to get the Legacy like set. This was just a set of 5 power coins, and somehow do that if you're really a stickler for it. So that is possible. And then obviously these can't really fit in the Legacy one because they have these grooves, and there's no groove mechanism on this, so that's really not going to work. Overall, this isn't perfect, but I still think it's pretty cool, and if you want a Power Morpher and you missed the Legacy one, I can definitely recommend checking it out. I think it's pretty cool, and I really like the stand. But that's all it for this one, guys. Until next time, if you like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell. Notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.